Well, how you do, buckaroos? How the heck are you? Well, how are you? Hey, I'm Tony Beer Whisperer. Hey, I've got one I've had before. It was the first time this year. It was brand new last year, so this is the first revisit. The main reason, well, two reasons I wanted to revisit is one, it was only $7.97 a six-pack, which is a bargain for a beer of this quality. Also, that I've been talking to folks at the brewery lately, and every time I talk to one of them, have you tried the new gravel bar? Brewers are notorious perfectionists. They're always tinkering. So the brewer out there, Stacy, he's always tinkering around. So I guess they've changed it some. The core beer stays the same, so I'm going to add... We add all of our Cascade, Centennial, Mosaic, and Citra hops later in the process to achieve a highly aromatic beer with a truly... with a fruity backbone that comes from our unique house E strain. Yeah, they're doing some crazy good stuff there at Gravel Bar. When they originally started with a brewer named Dave Lamb, who was kind of a local legend around here, to be honest. I mean, everybody knew him. He'd been around. He'd brewed for a lot of different people. But he had a propensity for wanting to make everything a Belgian. And he really didn't do the hoppy IPAs that everybody wants these days. Now, they've got a brewer out there, Stacy, who cut his teeth with Piney River and now does his own thing at White River. And really, the IPAs is where he's staked his claim. You have the Gravel Bar, the Double Gravel, the Pale Ale is fine. But these beers are... So the nose on this really... I don't know if I'd call this a West Coast style, but if I had to compare it to any specific style, that's probably where it lands. 6%, 65 IBUs. Because it's not really a true West Coast. It's certainly not East Coast, and it's not that murky New England, tastes like orange juice kind of IPA either. Although you might find elements of all three of those in this beer. Nose is bright, fresh, and fruity, and I'm getting a whole lot of tangerine. You might find some tropical fruit notes. I'm getting some white pepper-like notes as well. Oh, Shazam, that's good. Oh, yeah. I'd forgotten how good it was. So here's the thing. I work for a craft brewery. I'm not going to mention the name right now. Those that know me know who I work for. But the head brewer up there does some fantastic work, too. I mean, he's just a great brewer. But I brought him an IPA. I brought him one of these to taste a year ago, and he really loved it. He liked it so much that he had me buy him a case and bring it back to him there. So the finish on this is interesting, right? It's very dry. Drier than most IPAs. A lot of grapefruit on the back end, certainly some orange, tangerine. Again, you might find some tropical fruit suspects. You may get pineapple, mango, that sort of thing going on. I personally get more citrus, but you might find some of those tropical fruits. It's not going to be unusual. I'm getting a whole lot of grapefruit, orange, tangerine, even orange blossom-like notes. If you can hear the music playing, of course I don't own any rights. I'd found a bunch of Seamus's old discs recently, and since my wife isn't here, I'm cranking them because that's what I like to do when she's not around. So I'm kind of reminiscing. Sometimes I get a little melancholy. It's kind of a bittersweet thing, you know. The disc I'm playing now is from a band called Tusk. They weren't a mainstream band, but they had a show in Branson for a short time. Gosh, I cannot remember the name of this show now. Road to Rock. It's another video. I thought it was Jukebox Dreams, but that was Tony Orlando. This show. Road to Rock. Boy, gosh, it went blank, but now I came over. Road to Rock. I apologize for last video. I was wrong. Road to Rock. It was a very nice show. It really was. Unfortunately, because of the crowd that was going to Branson at the time, they didn't really feel it, but I thought it was a wonderful show. The band was incredible. Anyway, the band that did that show was a band called Tusk. I don't know where they were out of originally, to be honest with you. But they were selling this disc, and we picked it up. They were good. I don't know if you can hear it, and this was about in 2006, 2007 maybe. I don't remember the exact year. But they certainly have an 80s-esque feel about them. I don't feel... There's a couple of songs where you kind of get that hint of that grunge feel, but most of the songs are very 80s rock. The singer's voice, he's very good, a great voice. Trying to think of somebody who I could compare him to. Not quite as high as Mickey Thomas, maybe... what was that guy's name? The second vocalist for Survivor. Jimmy Jameson? I'm kind of guessing. My mind isn't working right now, and I'm not going to look stuff up on the internet. But similar to that, I mean, kind of a higher sound. A nice voice, anyways. More range than, say, a Bret Michaels or a Vince Neil. But a similar sound, but much maybe range is the wrong word. Stronger voice, more powerful voice, I guess might be the better way to say that. White River, though, I mean, you can see the color of that. I mean, it is certainly hazy. It's not necessarily, certainly hazier in the West Coast, but it's not as murky as a New England. Again, the beer, to me, doesn't really fit either profile 100%. Although I get the feeling drinking this, because I don't remember the last year's being quite this fruity or murky. I think he's leaning more towards that New England, with a kind of an Ozarks feel to it, if it were. If I had to guess, I'd say that's where he was going. Because it's not necessarily like drinking orange juice, but it is very citrus. But the interesting part of the beer for me is the finish. Again, it finishes much drier and cleaner than most IPAs do. It dries up just beautifully in the finish. But I am getting more orange, so I'm thinking he's trying to lean this more towards a New England. Because that last drink made me think of an Orange Julius. The way it finished. Kind of creamy orange, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, I meant that as a compliment, guys, at White River. They love me out there. Well, I like to think they do anyway. Got a great bartender out there, Danny. Every time I go out there, she remembers me. And I don't go out there all that often. It's not like I'm an extreme regular. I'm not there every week. I'm actually probably there about once every 3 or 4 months anymore. But I've made my presence known. The other folks out there know who I am, the owner, Buzz, Brewer Stacy. They always treat me well out there. Anyway, technical difficulties, man. Anyways, I'm back. I'll finish this beer up with you. White River, if you get a chance to get out there. I was right at the end anyways, about ready to send off, and it turned off on me. Anyways, hey, I am Thunder Beer Whisperer. I hope you all are having a good day. I'm hanging in there, considering the circumstances, man. But if you can find this beer, it's certainly worth a look. I don't think it's... the more I work this through, it really feels more like a New England, but it's not 100% New England. I do feel it. I know he's been tinkering with it, and I feel like that's probably the direction he's headed towards. Because I think the original incarnation was more towards the West Coast. I think he's trying to find a balance somewhere in the middle, if I was to guess. So you go, hey, I'm Thunder Beer Whisperer. Prolific beer drinker, BeerVangelist, Purveyor of Wisdom, and check a boom. All around good guy.